What's going on, people? It's Derek J407, aka Best Heel Ever, here to give you my thoughts on Lucha Underground. If you can't tell behind me, I'm in the process of moving back home. Well, New York is really my home, is where I grew up, but Columbus is where I began to live the past 6 years. So I'm going back there because my due to my job, I had the choice of going certain places, and I decided I'm gonna work from home and I'm gonna work in this little region. It's broken up into regions, and Columbus is a part of that region, so that's where I will be at this summer. It's basically summer vacation, just still gotta work. But before I officially go, I'm gonna be leaving in the morning. I decided I will get my Lucha Underground review out right now. One, because I wanted to get one more video here in Brooklyn, and two, it's Cinco de Mayo. I have to review Lucha Underground on Cinco de Mayo, so happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone out there, and let's get into this really good episode of Lucha Underground that was capped off with just a brutal ass main event. So we kicked things off in Dario Cueto's office. He was standing on his chair or something. He was up in his ceiling. It looked like he was hiding something up there. But then in came Katrina, and they started to talk about what happened the last time their respective monsters clashed, that being Matanza and Mil Muertes. And Dario announced that next week Mil Muertes will get his rematch against Matanza, and just to show that Matanza fears no one, including Mil, the match between Matanza and Mil Muertes will be a match that Mil Muertes is familiar with, and that is Grave Consequences. But then Dario Cueto upped the ante a little bit and said, let's have four caskets be out there and make this Graver Consequences. So that was pretty cute, and Katrina obliged. So the match is on next week. It is Mil Muertes versus Matanza. I assume it's for the Lucha Underground Championship, and it's Graver Consequences. So there will be multiple caskets out there. I don't know what that means, but it should be fun to see next week. So all the matches on this show were all about the ancient Aztec medallions and qualifying for that. And the first match to qualify, for an ancient Aztec medallion was between the Mac and Marty the Moth, the creepy bastard that is Marty the Moth. The match was a match. It was okay. In the end, the Mac won, so he got one of the ancient medallions. A little bit later on, we saw Katrina in the locker room. She was talking to King Cuerno, talking to him about how she won't need him this time because she has her own disciple, that being Sinestro de la Muerto or something like that. I forgot his name. It's Sinestro though, de la something. And King Cuerno said he's gonna win the medallion, and he's gonna go on to become Give the Gods champion again, and he will not make the same mistake he made last time. And this time, if Mil Muertes is the champion, he will make sure to challenge him and beat him for the title. And then we went back to Dario Cueto's office. In came Sexy Star, and he was talking to her about how much he respected her, and how that look in her eyes that he sees now, after the traumatic experience that she had with Mariposa and Marty the Moth. He told her that she has that same look in her eyes that his mother had when his mother used to just abuse him and Matanza constantly, and how she was basically a bitch to them. And he said he wanted that look to stay in her eyes pretty much. So he put her in a match on this show against Mariposa, and he made the match No Mas, which is basically an I Quit match, in that you win the match when you make your opponent say No Mas. But Dario told Sexy that even after the bell rings and the match is over, still punish her and all that kind of stuff, so that look can stay in your eyes. And Sexy Star agreed, and she left, and on her way to the match later on in the night, another Gift of the Gods, 7 ancient Aztec medallion match was King Cuerno versus Sinestro de la Muerto. I'm gonna say it like that. Sinestro de la Muerto. I'm pretty sure that's it. Another really good match here. It was Sinestro who won after behind the ref's back. Katrina was able to hit Cuerno in the head with the rock, and Sinestro hit like a springboard leg drop on Sinestro. He got the 1-2-3. King Cuerno was laid out, and then Katrina crawled up on him. It looked like she was about to give him the lick of death, but instead she picked him up and had him cradled, but instead she just whacked him in the head with the rock. So, no licks tonight, unfortunately. We had another one of these ancient Aztec medallions. Well, before that, in Dario Cueto's office, in walked Chavo Guerrero, and the only thing that came to my mind is, why the hell is Chavo still around? I swear, I forgot Chavo was even here. Something similar happened last season too. It was like Chavo was there, and then he took a hiatus for a while, and then he came back, and I was like, Chavo's still here. The last time we really saw him, the crew turned on him, and like, that was the last main thing that happened to him. And since then, the crew have become bigger stars, especially Mr. Cisco with the crowd, and Chavo hasn't been seen. So he came in Dario's office, wondering why don't I have a chance to win one of the 7 ancient Aztec medallions? It's because you're Chavo Guerrero, that's why. But Dario told him that he failed the last couple of times. He failed in winning the medallion before, and he failed at winning the Lucha Underground Championship and Aztec Warfare and all that kind of stuff. Basically, he's a failure, and he had to, make some kind of statement, or he failed to make a statement. And then Chavo took that like, you want me to make a statement? Okay, I will. And then he left, and so that carried over into the next match, which was Masquerita Sagrada, the little mini, who had Famous B and Brenda in his corner. So Famous B is now Masquerita Sagrada's manager, and he was passing out his card with his number and all that kind of stuff. And he was challenging someone who had already won a medallion, and so they were going to defend the medallion against Masquerita Sagrada. And that person turned out to be Cage, who came out there, made short work of the little guy, and beat him. And the crowd booed, not because they hated him, but it was like, I want to see the little guy win. Because when he came out, he got a huge reaction. Then after the match, Cage and Famous B and Brenda, she's like just some hot chick that hangs out with Famous B. They were all checking on Masquerita Sagrada, and then, behind his back, Cage that is, Chavo Guerrero came out of nowhere and stole the medallion and ran off with it. And Famous B told Cage, like, you got robbed, and pointed up the stairwell where Chavo was, and then Cage ran after him. So that is a thing now. Chavo's a kleptomaniac. But then again, lie, cheat, and steal, the whole Guerrero thing, so whatever. But then we get to the main event. Sexy Star versus Mariposa in a no mas match. This match was brutal. If this was between two guys, two male wrestlers, it would still be kind of brutal, but I mean, it wouldn't be that much. But because it was two women, that made it a hell of a lot more brutal. At one point, Sexy Star was like just laid out outside, and Mariposa just kept throwing chair. Like, a chair was already in front of her, and so she just kept throwing more chairs at that. Then Sexy Star came back and had Mariposa laid out on the other side, but like she had her laid out like sitting position, like I am, kind of like her legs are all out and her legs are open. And so she puts a chair, like, the tip of the chair right here in this private area of Mariposa, and she gets another chair and smacks that chair right into that chair, which went right into her area, effectively giving Mariposa a camel toe, I'm sure. The action, it was all over ringside. They went up the balcony. They went up to the fucking rafters, and at certain points, it looked like Mariposa was about to knock her off. She was choking her, and her legs were dangling over the rafters and all that kind of stuff. It was some brutal stuff. And up there, she started to bleed, and then Mariposa started like spread the blood off of her to have it rain down on the believers. I just thought to myself, if I was in that crowd and I got blood splattered on me, I'd think, ew. I don't know. That's unpleasant. But then again, in that environment, I probably would have thought it was cool. Like if I was still 16 or something like that years old, I would be like, hell yeah. But now with me almost being 25 this year, I'm thinking, I don't know. And then eventually it went like on that platform area, and then came Marty the Moth. He got involved. He started to beat down Sexy Star, and that's when the Mac came in and started to beat him down and started to fight him off. And so then it was right back down to Sexy Star and Mariposa. They fought their way back over to ringside. Mariposa picked up Sexy Star, kind of almost like a wheelbarrow position, and like rammed her head into the announce table. It reminded me of one great Raw moment from a few years ago when Cesaro and The Miz were feuding for the U.S. Championship. And Cesaro, like, this was like one of the first times we saw Cesaro do the swing on TV. Before it became a big thing, though. He just swung The Miz back and forth, like head and shoulder first, like just back and forth on the security wall. It was one of the best moments I've ever seen on TV. So it was something similar to that. And then they got back in the ring. Still just more fighting, just brutal. Sexy Star is just dripping with blood. This may be like the most blood I've seen from a women's match ever in my lifetime. I don't remember seeing this much blood from a women's match before. And eventually Sexy Star got Mariposa in a choke. Got her in like a standing chokehold, basically. But then Marty the Moth came back. He gave her the axe handle on the back and started to beat her down. And that's when the Mac ran in again, gave Marty a stunner, and it was down to Sexy Star and Mariposa once again. Sexy got her in a armbar, forced her to say no mas, and even after the match, Sexy still had the hold in. The referee was trying to get her off of her. Sexy Star got up, pushed the referee away, put her back in the move, and just held her in it, and then eventually let go and threw her out of the ring. And Sexy Star was the victor. The Mac came in, raised her arm, gave her the medallion. She hugged him, and they just went off the air victorious, basically. So just a brutal match. I thought it was pretty good. It is kind of weird seeing the women have this much of a brutal match, but I found it entertaining. I found it amusing. And that's just me, I'm looking forward to next week. Mil Muertes and Matanza, graver consequences. Regular old grave consequences last year between Mil Muertes and Phoenix was really good. It was one of my favorite matches of the entire year. It was in my top 10 list of one of my favorite matches of the entire year. So if we could get just a little taste of that again this year between Mil Muertes and Matanza, and you saw the last time those two were, in the ring together or had a match together, like that shit was very entertaining, and I imagine it'll be equally entertaining now. And I don't know if everybody who has a medallion has one now. I think there's 7 people now, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to that graver consequences match next week. And if I review next week, I will be reviewing it from the confines of my old home in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm about to finish packing. Thank you all so much. See y'all later.